TG Geeks, episode 414, January 23rd, 2023. Two Geeks Talk Tosca. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of Geek-dom and Nerd-ery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, and opera. You name it, we talk about it.
Well, that does kind of fall under you name it, we talk about it.
Well, that's true. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, where it's gotten cool again.
Yeah, it's gotten
It's the end of January.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm Ben Raggington, feeling and sounding significantly better from last week here in Phoenix, Arizona.
He's not hacking up a lung this time.
Not at the moment.
So let's get on with it.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we, yours truly, and Mr. Ben over there, we're going to talk about the Arizona Opera production of Tosca.
Among other things.
Among other things. And then we'll have our birthday shout-outs, our featured podcast of the week, which is always Technorama, because nobody sends us
Nobody's
any
doing
bumpers
podcasts anymore.
I know. We got some feedback and regular shout-outs in the second segment. Maybe we'll have time to talk about something, unless we spend too much time in this first segment.
Which is very possible.
Exactly. Then we'll have our wacky weekly recap and our regular shout-outs. So let's just get started with this. Well, that is definitely not Tosca.
No.
But that is Mozart. And that's the Magic Flute, or the Queen of the Night's aria from the Magic Flute. And
yeah, and that's something that Arizona Opera is going to be performing at the end of this season.
At the end of this season, and just wait till the birthdays. So we'll see something then.
Yeah. Now, before we talk about Tosca, there is something that we saw.
I was about to talk, and you just cut me off. That's okay.
Because there's this. I just remembered something that sort of is pertinent to this conversation, and that is, some time ago we interviewed Alex Schrader.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We got to talk about that.
Yes, we will talk about that. That is definitely a couple of things that we want to talk about, and then we'll.
He's making notes.
Yes. And there
we go.
If I could spell it right.
Carment?
Okay, anyway.
It's a carment.
It's a carment. We have we have some carments.
We have some carments, yeah. And they're very delicious carmints, too.
Yes.
How many different ways can we take that?
Well, I don't know. We can mess it up a million ways.
Well, I'm sure we could spend 20 minutes just messing that up.
Exactly. So Tosca is kind of, it's an opera by Giacomo Puccini.
It's one of his war horses.
And one of his war horses. It is a favorite of audiences. It is a super dramatic, often melodramatic opera.
Would you say that's a reason why it's a favorite among audiences? Because it is just, I mean, in terms of its drama, this one is like so over the top. It
truly is. And I think the whole thing about Tosca is that it's the typical lover's triangle, and she is a jealous woman. Floria Tosca is a jealous woman. Mario Cavaradossi he's not a womanizer, but he appreciates
beauty.
The beauty. And then there's Scarpia, who is the chief of police for Rome.
He is like
And
one of the most hated characters in all of opera.
Exactly. And they just kind of, it's the three of them on stage almost the entire opera.
Yeah.
There's a handful of supporting characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's the sacristan, there's, Angelotti, there's Spoletta, and, the jailer,
But
that's
these
about
are
it.
really, I mean, and of all those roles, the sacristan's probably got the biggest one of the bunch.
Exactly. And he's only in the first act.
He's only in the first act. And we're giving him a special push because he's a friend of ours.
Yes. So we saw the final dress rehearsal, and that is generally on a Wednesday night when they are performing on Friday and Saturday and Sunday in Phoenix. And it is also student night.
Right.
Now, they allow kids to come in from all different schools. The tickets are cheap for the kids. In fact, Arizona Opera has all kinds of deals with different types of schools for different things that they do. Mm-hmm. But it was a fairly decent house for
I was pleased
the
by that.
kids. I mean, it is a dress rehearsal, and there is the potential for them to stop and to not have all of the effects and not have all of the things that they do for a regular production. But the production that we saw on Wednesday night was absolutely
amazing.
Incredible.
It really was amazing.
I mean, the Mario was, let's see, who did Mario that night?
Mario Cavaradossi.
He was
John Matthew Myers.
And he was great. Caitlin Godimer sang.
She's part of the student program, isn't she?
Has been. I think they both are. But Caitlin, oh my gosh, we've heard her before. And
Yeah.
she was an incredible Floria Tosca.
Yes.
And, obviously, we saw Weston Hurt as Scarpia. And we saw Brandon Morales as the sacristan.
Yep.
And it was just, they were so wonderful. I mean, Brandon he's got
that
voice
that just does not know when to stop.
Exactly. But we also then saw Friday night's production. And
Holy
we're gonna see
Moses.
Saturday night's production. Oh my gosh.
So we're recording this on Saturday. So we're talking about Friday night, last night for us.
We saw Laura Wilde, who sang Tosca, and
that was her Arizona Opera debut.
Beck as Mario.
Oh my
God.
One of the best tenors I've ever heard in my life.
He filled the whole auditorium. He filled Symphony Hall with that voice.
I was reading
it was unbelievable.
I was reading his bio. This guy has won championships and awards all over the place, and based on what we heard, and not just the power of his voice, but also his interpretation.
Oh yes,
I mean, he interpreted a Cavaradossi's aria, which is in Act 3, so tenderly that I was almost in tears. It was so beautiful.
And Laura's Visi d'Arte in both of them.
Yeah,
both of them did a fabulous job. Laura and Caitlin did a fabulous job of Visi d'Arte, which is in the second act, and it's just before she kills Scarpia, and it's just so tender.
And if we're going to talk about
so
Scarpia,
wonderful,
we got to talk about last night's Scarpia. Alexei Bogdanov, I believe it's Bogdanov.
Yes,
I think it's how it's pronounced.
Wow. Scary.
This guy, he has a moment at the end of Act 1. Well, it's not a moment. It's a full piece.
Yep.
Where he's singing opposite this. They're patrons of the church.
Well, they're also the choir of the church.
They're the choir of the church, and they're singing their praises.
Te Deum.
Yeah, they're singing their Te Deum, their praises to God, and then you've got Scarpia off to the side who is singing these dark thoughts that are
exactly.
So the juxtaposition of these two things, the dichotomy between these two texts is terrifying.
In fact, at one point they are proclaiming the goodness of God and the mercy of God, and Scarpia's over there singing, Tosca, you make me want to forget God.
I know.
And
I mean, it's
just
bone chilling.
It
and
is.
his singing and acting is beyond superb.
Yeah, it was wonderful. The production. Now, I want to talk about the production a little bit. This production was one that they used in 2017, and it's also the drops and everything that they used came from Seattle Opera. They rented this production, and this was created in 1972.
Yeah.
This was when the fine art of creating backdrops and these flies and all of this stuff was at the height of it.
Yeah, there's a certain opulence to it.
Yes.
And it shows. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because before we attended the dress rehearsal, we got to do a backstage tour.
Yes.
And we're right there on stage looking at the flats, and these are just that. These are like tapestries, if you will.
Yeah.
That are looking
that have been dyed and painted
and even then
overlaid with stuff that they put on there to give them a little bit more depth.
And even
the
then,
lighting.
when you're standing right there looking at them, all I could think of is these poor things are showing their age.
But you
and
put the
yet,
right lighting on them.
And
oh,
yet,
my God.
when we were in the audience for the dress rehearsal, and then we get a good look, especially the church, the chapel.
Yes.
There was texture. There was depth. And I kept staring at it. It almost took me out of the moment. And I say this in a good way. It's like I'm not listening to the singers, because I'm so amazed that this flat piece of cloth is so well painted that I actually see this curving at the back of this chapel. It was so gorgeous. This is in my mind, this is still an absolutely gorgeous production.
It's beautiful. And then in Act 3, because they're at the top of the Castel San Angelo.
Yep.
Where they're going to, where they're keeping Cavaradossi, there's this gigantic sculpture. Mm-hmm. It looks like a sculpture.
It does.
Of Michael's, the Archangel Michael. And but it's a drop.
It's a drop, but you don't know it.
You light it just right. It looks like a marble sculpture that they rolled right out there onto stage.
It does. It looks like
unbelievable.
It has 3 dimensions to it when you're in the audience. It's so amazing.
Yeah, the director, Stephanie Havey, is the stage director, and she was. We had an opportunity to chat with her at one of the intermissions, and because they use a scrim at the beginning of each of the acts, and to me, the first act it seemed appropriate, just
from a story standpoint, it does work.
And then you look at Act 2 and then Act 3, and it for me and I told her, I said it seemed a little superfluous that they would use the scrim, but and we asked her why she was using the scrim, and she says, well, you have to look at it from the story. If she had put liner notes in there, it would be, the curtain goes up, there's a scrim, and the sacristan is asleep on the scaffolding for Mario, who is a painter, and he's painting this big portrait, and he's asleep, so he doesn't realize that Angelotti, who is an escaped prisoner, has snuck into the church and etc. So he's kind of asleep, and when he finally does wake up, the scrim goes up. Mm-hmm. And then in the second act, it starts with Scarpia musing and, kind of daydreaming of Tosca. Mm-hmm. And then as the action really starts, the scrim goes up. And then in the third act, there's Mario Cavaradossi, who is asleep and he's dreaming of Tosca, and it made sense then
from a story standpoint.
Yes.
But it turns out there was also a practical reason.
Exactly. They wanted to get your eyes accustomed to these older drops and the lighting of the older drops, so that when they went up, you kind of naturally assumed that they were recent or doing the correct lighting.
It made the backdrops look a heck of a lot better.
It certainly did,
especially for Act 1.
and she's done quite a bit. I mean, she has young artist training at the Curtis Institute of Music, and she's been Carnegie Mellon University, Central City Opera. She's done programs with Tulsa Opera, Opera Neo, Opera North, Opera of Delaware, and the Florida State Opera. She's also worked at the New York City Opera, as well as, all over the place. But she is an in-demand stage director. And the conductor,
yes,
Daniela Candelari, I think we saw her, she did something.
Well, she did Copper Queen.
Oh, yes, she did Copper Queen. That's right. She was a conductor of the orchestra for Copper Queen, but she came back, and she's great. She teased out so much in the orchestra. The orchestra was
superb.
Absolutely
They were amazing.
superb.
Just
they never
beautiful.
sounded better.
No, I agree.
really.
They sounded absolutely fantastic,
Yeah.
and I don't think I've got any complaints. I would say that with as great as the dress rehearsal was, in terms of the singing and the performances, last night was
pretty incredible.
so unbelievably over the top in terms of everybody's performance last night.
Absolutely.
Tosca, if you know the story, she commits suicide at the end, but the way Laura Wilde, the way Laura Wilde did it last night,
oh my gosh.
I nearly cried.
It was so wow. It's a new take on this suicide jumping off the top of the castle. So,
but it works.
Yes.
In fact, I can't think of a better way to end with an opera that is so over the top melodramatic.
Yeah.
In its storytelling, you have to have an equally melodramatic death scene.
Yes, exactly. And I can't say enough about this production and enough about what Arizona Opera is doing. They're quickly becoming one of the premier regional
I agree.
Opera companies, just by the talent that they bring in, the talent that they have as part of their young artist program, the things that they did. They created the sets for Ariadne, which was the previous opera. It's a brand new production for them that they can now rent out. Like, Seattle has rented this production of Tosca for 50 years.
So it's a great
practically.
way for Arizona
Yeah.
Opera to actually recoup some of their expenses now by actually renting out this equipment. I'm so impressed with what Arizona Opera is doing. Before I forget, I have to give a special nod to Alexei again as Scarpia.
Yes.
Because he did Scarpia in 2017.
Right.
The last time we saw him, and again, unbelievably brilliant, terrifyingly evil. What I love is when he came out for his curtain call.
Yes.
He bowed, and at the very beginning, for like maybe the first 2 or 3 seconds, you hear cheers, and then it all starts to turn to boos, because Scarpia is one of the most villainous characters. I think the only one who's considered more villainous is Iago from Otello. But Scarpia is just vile as a character. And Alexei's got a really great sense of humor. He was egging on those boos. And the fact that he was getting those boos, I think, was a clear indication to him and to everybody else there at how great a job he did in that role. I mean,
exactly.
This was old-time melodrama vaudeville.
Except
Set to classical music.
Exactly. And I want to give a special shout out to Shelby Joyner, who was out in front of. She was
in the lobby,
and she had
she had
an exhibit of
yeah.
the costumes from Ariadne. She's the chief dyer, and wow, she was she spent 15 minutes with us telling us how they dyed the material,
all the materials.
and how they put it all together. And
these were for the nymphs.
Yes.
Especially, we were focusing on the nymphs from Ariadne. And it was one of the most fascinating conversations. And she's got pictures of the nymphs from their, I'm assuming these were taken during dress rehearsal.
Right.
And we're looking at them, and I had no idea this kind of work went into the making of these costumes. It was a fascinating conversation.
The costume shop does a fabulous job. It's amazing what they do. And it's not a huge space. They have some significant room.
They got room
but
to work.
It's not a gigantic.
No, it's not like the
costume
Met.
shop. Yeah, but they all do a great job. The stagehands and everybody that's involved with the operas, the lighting, everything. It was truly amazing. And I will also say, I want to throw a plug in here. That Wednesday night, we had not only gone to the backstage tour, but it being student night, we were able to secure tickets for the kids and several of the house parents and adults at Mulligan's Manor. And we brought them, and oh my gosh,
they loved it.
I think they two of them in particular
especially loved it.
Just were... Wow. They were wowed by the performance.
I know they all enjoyed it.
Yes.
But there were two in particular that just went gaga over what they saw.
It was absolutely incredible.
And to see their faces light up.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
I mean, it made me very happy.
Yeah. And now for the last thing, and this one is kind of interesting because... out in the lobby, we haven't gotten our copy yet.
Not
because
yet.
It's coming in the mail. They have sent them out. But Arizona Opera did a graphic novel of Carmen, and Alex Schrader, who big comic book nerd.
Yeah.
He was the one that presented that a couple of years ago when COVID started, and Arizona Opera was looking for ways to reach out to the public and different ways of bringing opera to the public. And so this Carmen graphic novel is available in the lobby, and you probably can contact Arizona Opera and get a copy of it.
We talked to Alec in episode 359 about this graphic novel.
Well, we talked to him a couple of times, once before that.
Well, yeah, once, but that he was performing in La Cenerentola at the time. But this is the episode 359 is when we talked about the graphic novel, and then we had I mentioned the Kickstarter in a separate press release.
Yeah, and this graphic novel, I got a chance to look at it and thumb through
Holy
it.
cow!
Oh my gosh! Now you know how graphic novels are. They're not very thick cardboard, but they're a kind of a
heavy paper,
heavy almost cardboard cover on them.
Yeah,
this is
hard
cover.
This is like
copy.
a coffee table.
This
book.
is like a coffee table book. It's huge, and the art is incredible.
Oh my God!
I think I may buy another copy just to have a couple more.
If it's out on Kindle, I'm going to get it.
Yeah, but
because this was the art. I mean, I love comic books. I'm still a very regular comic book reader, and I took a look at this because I was a little concerned as to what kind of direction the artist was going to take with it. Wow, those fears are dashed. Excuse me, because those characters looked fantastic, especially Don Jose and Carmen.
Oh my gosh!
They're your
Carmen
two principals.
Leaps off the page.
She does.
On every page that you see her, she literally leaps off the page because her colors, the colors that they used for her are consistent throughout the graphic novel, and whether there's different tones of colors that they use throughout the graphic novel, just thumbing through it. And even in the dark areas, Carmen pops off the page with that vibrant red that she is, because that's Carmen. So,
Yeah.
That's another tragic melodramatic opera.
Yeah, quite. And Don Jose, who is the tragic love interest to her. Yeah, this is going to sound completely ludicrous of me, but for comic book fans, you know, especially if you're LGBTQ, you might understand what I'm saying here. He was hot.
Yeah.
I know that says something to the artwork when you can make a character look really alluring. You know, and I thought Don Jose looked absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to read this.
Yeah.
Because this really looks amazing, and I'm hoping that, because I know that when we interviewed Alec, we did talk about how there had been a graphic novel done of the entire Ring cycle.
Right.
I would like to think that maybe with Carmen, this might spur more of these, because you can
bring
look
the art to folks that don't know about opera. And
it's a great way to introduce the stories.
Exactly.
And it's nice to be able to have, with the Ring, you've got the mythological fantastic, and then with Carmen, you've got more of, even though it's French, it's still sort of verismo in terms of its storytelling.
Right. Exactly.
I would like to see more of that being done now, especially with the quality that we just saw in this graphic novel.
Exactly. And if you want to see Tosca, you still have an opportunity twice in Tucson next weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
I highly recommend
Tickets are still available, so if you want to make a trip to Tucson on Saturday night or Sunday afternoon, you can still do that.
I highly recommend it.
Hi, I'm Alex Schrader, opera singer, director, comic book writer, and you are listening to the incredible The Two Gay Geeks.
We're going to have to reach out to Alec and tell him how much we like that graphic novel now.
Exactly, yeah. We have to have him back on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, here's a few selected birthdays for January 23rd through January 29th, 2023. January 23rd, John Hancock, merchant and statesman. John Hancock served as the president of the Second Continental Congress and was the first to sign the Declaration of Independence in 1776, owing to this position. A rich man, he used his wealth to support the colonial cause during the American Revolution. He used his influence to ratify the United States Constitution in 1788. Edouard Manet was a French painter who played a key role in the transition to Impressionism from realism in the 19th century. Manet was one of the first artists from his generation to paint modern life. His early masterworks, such as Olympia, served as rallying points for young and aspiring Impressionist painters. His works continue to influence painters around the world.
We saw a lot of his work here in Phoenix, as part of a traveling exhibit. I was astonished at the quality. That was Monet, not Manet.
We've seen some Manet. Yes, we have. And then there's
who's Moy?
Moy?
Who's Moy?
Moy. Moi.
Moi.
Moi. Mooey. Mooey. Moy. Yeah, Mooey.
Mooey?
I have to have the extra cow size, My birthday. Yes, I am 63. January 24th. Michio Kaku, apart from teaching at the City College of New York, theoretical physicist Michio Kaku often pens his thoughts in blogs and has written several best-selling books, such as The God Equation. His research is focused...
oh, wow.
Wow. I can't even read today. Is focused on the string theory. I think it's because I'm getting older.
That's it.
He also believes in the existence of aliens. Farinelli was an Italian castrato singer who was active during the 18th century. A celebrated performer, Farinelli is widely regarded as one of the greatest singers in operatic history. His life and career inspired a 1994 biographical drama titled Farinelli. He has also been the subject of other artwork such as plays and TV series. January 25th, Robert Burns, or Robbie Burns, Scottish poet, also known as the National Bard and the Bard of Ayrshire. He is considered a pioneer of the Romantic movement in English literature. He often drew inspiration from Scottish folk songs. Some of his notable works include the poems Auld Lang Syne and Scots Wahee. Thomas Aquinas, Dominican friar and Catholic priest. Thomas Aquinas was also a doctor of the church. He tried to mingle Aristotelian philosophy and Christianity. His works, including Summa Theologica and Disputed Questions on Truth, and his views on the scriptures have been studied as prominent texts on theology, philosophy, and canon law. We have friends of ours, Katie Salidas, Steve Kay, Craig Stepp, and Jenny Koch on January 25th. Happy birthday to all of you. January 26th, Eddie Van Halen was an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. The co-founder of the popular rock band, what was that, Van Halen? Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Eddie is widely considered one of the greatest guitar players in the history of rock music. He is credited with popularizing the tapping technique, which is now used extensively by guitarists all over the world.
But he did not invent it.
He did not invent it.
He did not invent it.
Made it.
He made it. Everybody says he invented it, but Brian May did it with Queen a couple of years before. He
popularized it.
Yes. Steve Hackett, formerly of Genesis, claims that he invented it.
Aha. Bessie Coleman was an American civil aviator and the first African-American woman to hold a pilot license. Nicknamed Queen Bess, Coleman became a high-profile pilot in the air shows organized in the United States. Bessie Coleman died at the age of 34 in a plane crash. Her efforts to promote aviation inspired the Native American communities. And then we have a friend of ours, Angelo Dell'Aquila. His wife, Millie, is a very close friend of ours.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so is
Angelo's
Angelo.
a nice guy. I like him a lot.
January 27th, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, child prodigy. Wolfie, yes, is regarded as one of the greatest classical composers. Classical. Yes, he's a classical poser.
He's a classical poser.
He's a classical poser. One of the greatest.
We got to tell that to Brendan tonight when we see him.
Classical composers ever.
Wow, this train is derailing wheel by wheel.
It's about ready to crash here. Oh my Lord. He was a prolific composer and had a profound influence on Western music. Many of his works are considered pinnacles of choral, symphonic, operatic, chamber, and concertant music. Before his death at the age of 35, he had composed over 600 works that we know of.
Yeah, I know that he wrote a Kyrie that I sang when I was with the Phoenix Symphony Chorus.
I think that was the one he wrote when he was like 7.
I think it was
10.
younger. I think he was 6.
Wow. Yeah, I know. He was just unbelievable. His music was, it didn't fit in any specific genre. It was Mozart. Mozart was Mozart.
Oh, and that's why he broke the mold.
Yeah. He was a left turn in the genre of classical music of the day.
And his presence helped, I think, open the door for later composers like Beethoven.
Yeah. He was a contemporary of Beethoven when Beethoven was younger, but
even then Beethoven, he came along and started breaking the rules too. He did not exactly go entirely with convention in terms of what classical music was doing. And I think Mozart was the one who paved the way to do that.
And his operas are just
They're stunning.
unbelievable. His horn concertos, his oboe concertos, his piano concertos, his
I love his
my
choral work.
Lord.
I mean, let's talk about the Requiem.
Oh, my Lord.
Which is one of the most gorgeous pieces ever composed.
It is. It truly is. Mozart did some wonderful things. Then we have Jerome Kern on the January 27th. He was an American composer of musical theater and popular music. One of the most important American theater composers of the early 20th century, he wrote more than 700 songs used in over 100 stage works, including classics such as Old Man River, Can't Help Lovin' That Man, A Fine Romance, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, This Song Is You, All the Things You Are, The Way You Look Tonight, and Long Ago and Far Away. He collaborated with many of the leading librettists and lyricists of his era, including George Grossmith, Guy Bolton, P.G. Wodehouse, Otto Harbach, Oscar Hammerstein II, Dorothy Fields, Johnny Mercer, Ira Gershwin, and Yip Harburg. Some of his music is just incredible.
It is
too.
amazing.
I mean, some of those tunes are iconic.
Well,
and
the
classic.
moment you mentioned Old Man River, I mean, I'm hearing it in my head.
Yeah, the smoke gets in your eyes. Just wow. Anyway. Also on January 27th, a friend of ours, Dee Astel.
happy birthday,
Happy
Dee.
birthday, Dee. January 28th, Artur Rubinstein was a Polish-American pianist, counted among the greatest pianists of all times. He had an extensive career spanning 8 decades, during which he earned much international acclaim. He played music performed by several illustrious composers and is especially remembered for his interpretation of Chopin's music. And then we have Auguste Piccard. I wonder if he's related to Jean-Luc. He must have, well, the Piccards of Jean-Luc's family, they were the rebellious. They
dropped the other
second, the second C, yes. He was a Swiss-born Belgian physicist. Auguste Piccard is best remembered for his research on the Earth's upper stratosphere. He designed his own ships to explore the depths of the sea and also built balloons to study cosmic rays. His bathyscaphe remains one of the best-known inventions. He also co-discovered the magnetocaloric effect.
So he built balloons to study cosmic rays and things.
Cosmic rays and things, exactly. Also on the 28th, Kevin Batchelder and former co-worker Barb Miller. Happy birthday. January 29th, Adam Lambert, American singer, songwriter, and actor. Adam Lambert serves as an inspiration to the LGBTQ community. He became the first openly gay musician to top the U.S. Billboard 200 charts with the release of his second studio album, Trespassing. Also a well-known philanthropist, Adam Lambert helps raise money for various charitable causes. He also performs with the band Queen, where the shows are billed Queen with Adam Lambert.
And we've seen
that
them
twice.
And they are
absolutely
amazing.
wonderful.
And there is rumbling that there will be one final farewell tour because Brian and Roger are getting a little long.
Yeah.
They're getting old and they want to stop. But I think one more Queen tour is still they still have
Exactly.
left.
And then we have Abdus Salam, was a Pakistani theoretical physicist who became the first Pakistani to be honored with a Nobel Prize in Physics. He was also the second person from an Islamic country to receive any Nobel Prize. He won the award in 1979 for his work concerning the electroweak unification theory. Salam played a major role in popularizing physics in Pakistan. And then we have Tommy Ramone. Is he the one?
No.
Okay.
No, the one who's at Hollywood forever is Dee Dee Ramone.
Well, darn it.
I just looked it up.
Because I put that on
Well,
there.
I saw the question mark. I knew we were going to go. So I quickly Googled, and it's hilarious because I didn't even have to finish typing which Ramone is buried at, and then Google finished off the sentence. So it's like, oh, obviously that's a popular
That's
question.
a popular question. Maybe we've popularized that. Who knows?
You know, considering the number of times we've actually had to ask it over the intertubes.
How many Ramones were there?
Four. Well, four
five.
active in the band, but there were some that traded in and out. So
Yeah, so-
there was. I know there was only
We
one
asked the
Joey
question
Ramone.
like 3 or 4, 5 times a year.
There was one Joey Ramone, but I think some of the others. I think there was more than one Marky Ramone.
Yeah. Anyway, and that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counselors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
We want to give a shout out to Mulligan's Manor. They are a loving and supportive group home dedicated to at-risk gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, and heterosexual adolescents ranging from 12 to 17 years. They are a family-oriented LGBTQA community that nurtures and empowers our youth to reach their full potential, as well as provide tools for a safe and healthy life. A mulligan is known by golfers as a second chance or a do-over. The mission is to give every member of their family, the Mulligan's Manor family, the second chance to experience the love and respect they deserve. And there are over 15,000 youth in the child protective systems in Maricopa County alone, which means that in all likelihood there are hundreds of LGBTQ children in need of respectful housing. Check out mulligansmanor.org for more information.
And it's time for our feedback. These are comments that we received in response to articles and episodes that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com, and the links for each of these will be in the show notes for this episode number 414 at tggeeks.com, starting with regarding TG Geeks episode 410. And we got a comment from Whisper Van Kelt, better known as Trish. We interviewed her in a slightly earlier episode where we talked about Winter Horror Fest and Mulligan's Manor. And she sent this to us on December 26th. There's a reason I mentioned that. She writes, and she left us on Instagram, I spent some time with them, meaning the Mulligan Manor kids, for Christmas yesterday, and what they had to say about the experience was incredible. One of them said it was her first Christmas in 7 years, and the first time she can remember feeling loved and valued. I'm so thankful for everything positive that came out of the event, and really excited for what comes next. I can't wait to listen to your take on everything. Yay. That's fantastic. And then, I love this. We got a comment on our YouTube channel from Random User. That's the name. And they write, incredible wrap-up. Thank you guys so much for being there and for being such a huge part of bringing awareness and love to these awesome kids. Thank you. Moving on, regarding TG Geeks episode number 411, this was our year-end review, or year-in review, I suppose you call it. Got a comment from Anime Who Review channel on YouTube. And this is my dear friend in England, Darren Anderson, who writes, "Get well soon," because we both sounded absolutely awful in that episode. Got a comment from Barbara Dillon. "Congrats on an amazing 2022, and here's to great things in 2023. Thank you, Barbara. And I just want to say, I hope you get well and start feeling better from that little minor car accident you had. I know you were talking about it on social media, and I'm very happy that it wasn't anything serious."
Yes.
Also got a comment from Zachary Wheeler. He left this on our YouTube channel, and he says, "It was great to see you gents. Glad you made it back safe and hope you feel better soon." And I don't think we really talked about this. We got to spend time. I had dinner with Zachary as we were heading out to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, in Albuquerque.
And we met him in Albuquerque. Had a nice time visiting with him. It was fantastic. And then got a comment from Hamish Down. He also left this on our YouTube channel saying, "Please get well soon." And we close off regarding Ben's book breakdown. The Eidolon is a thrilling debut to Magnus Academy. Got a comment from Katie Edwards, who is the author of The Eidolon. Left us on Twitter, says, "Many thanks to TGG for the amazing review, and I love how they use the map and interior artwork in the article. I cannot wait to share this story with people." Hey, thank you for writing something that was so unbelievably awesome, as you always do, Mr. Edwards. It was a joy to read it.
Yes. If you want to leave comments on anything that we publish, whether it be our episodes or our articles, like the book review or any of the movie reviews that we do, you can do that on our Facebook page, Twitter, or Instagram, and you can comment on the episodes on YouTube, as a couple of those individuals have done. You can even call us and leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-Geeks. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice.
For more than 2 decades, Judy and Dennis Shepard have honored their son Matt by working to erase hate around the world. The Matthew Shepard Foundation honors his legacy by inspiring the good work of activists, teachers, artists, and legislators, and everyday LGBTQ+ folks and their allies. Join us today in helping to erase hate. Visit MatthewShepard.org.
Thank you to Comcast NBC Universal for that promo. Well, I hope everybody knows by now, if you are a regular listener, that we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. We encourage you to go and find these people that you might see at a book fair or at a convention or any other place, or look them up. If you have a favorite author or a comic book artist, look them up. Find their website, find their Facebook page, stalk them find them wherever you can and follow them. Buy their stuff. Talk to other people about their stuff. Please consider supporting independent creators. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, I just want to reiterate a couple of things. If you want to go see Tosca that we talked about in the first segment. There's still tickets available in Tucson. The next production of Arizona Opera is The Sound of Music. I know that sounds weird, that it's traditionally not an opera, but it is widely considered as part of the American opera, as Oklahoma, Showboat, Carousel, several other what are traditionally known as musicals are American opera. And then also the season closer is The Magic Flute by Mozart, which is it's a truly wonderful opera.
I'm looking forward to this production.
I am too.
Because we've not seen this one before.
To see that.
I mean, we've seen the opera, but not this specific production. So I think I know I'm very curious about it.
Also, check out they may have, I can't remember whether they have on the opera website about the Carmen graphic novel, but you can certainly call them up or send them an email and ask about if they have any graphic novels and how you might get your hands on those, of the Carmen graphic novel. And I want to encourage you to go take a look at Mulligan's Manor website. They really are doing something great. They only have room for 8 kids in that group home right now, and the need is huge. So please do that. And I keep hitting my mic.
Stop it. Stop it. And it's time for our weekly review. These are items that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com this past week, and the links for each of these will be in the show notes for this episode 414 at tggeeks.com, starting with Sunday, January 15th. My God, we're already past the halfway mark in January.
I know.
February's around the corner. Nerdy Chupacabra's number 135. On Monday the 16th, TG Geeks episode number 413. On Tuesday the 17th, Ben's Gay Book Breakdown. Talbauer wins in overtime with the rest of the story.
The rest of the story.
Well, it's not like that.
Oh,
but this is actually it's a same-sex romance set in the world of ice hockey, and it is a great book.
Interesting.
On Wednesday the 18th, Disney Plus debuts key art and trailer for Season 3 of Star Wars The Mandalorian. On Thursday the 19th, Andrea's Angle, The Sun. Tragic but flat. On Friday the 20th, Hamish Downey's 5 Questions with Joseph Stife. And on Saturday the 21st, This God Made, hosted by Carlton Tetley, Season 4, Episode 9, the TRS-80 Whiz Kids. And boy, I am one of those kids, and I sorely chuckled at that episode. We have some shout-outs we need to make. First, to our good friend Brian Weber, also known as Arkle. He is on Twitter as Geek of All Trades, and geek is spelled the letter G, the number 3, the number 3, the letter K of all trades. Also referred to as Brian the Ampersand List YouTuber. We mention him because he has his Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News, which does republish some of our content from time to time. So the best way to find the Post-Dispatch News is to find him on Twitter, as I described. And while you're looking for all things Arkle, go to his YouTube channel for the plethora of projects that he has going on there. And to do that, just go to youtube.com/Arkle Studios. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on the pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours, where they said we could share away our content there, and we say thank you. And their URL is facebook.com/group/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for also allowing us to share all of our lovely stuff there. And their URL is facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek. That's all one word. And then we give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Other places we can be found are Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Sci-Fi Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays, and listen to their other content, their Gene and Susan program. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station.
They got to put out a new bumper.
We have to apologize. There's been a little kerfuffle with the script that picks up our episode, and I think we missed a week. So Gene is working on that, and hopefully we will be back soon. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We will have several links on the page of things we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. We encourage you to live and be your authentic self. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated. Peace.
Cheers.